It was an exciting time. Of the Great Lakes states, 4 of us were new governors. We were 20 years younger than the previous governors. We were all facing huge unemployment, but we also had a commitment to the environment and protecting the Great Lakes. We had so much in common. We got together at a National Governors Conference and decided to proceed to have a conference.
The outcome of the meeting in May was that we should really gather and organize ourselves formally as a council. So the gathering in Mackinac Island in June was the opportunity to come together and formally agree to create the Great Lakes Governors Council.
The governors for Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio to start with. I think we knew we were creating something big that if we did it right would live on and that was important to our people. And of course, Mackinac Island is the perfect place. It's a perfect place to entertain, hold a conference, beautiful vistas.
Well, I remember no cars on Mackinac Island, it was kind of fun because, Blanchard and I would tease each other. The auto industry was huge in our 2 states, and here we were in a place where we didn't have the benefit of autos. The other impression was just how quickly the 6 of us found common ground and recognized that in the really uncertain times of 1983 and trying to come out of that deep recession, that working together was going to be very important for us. That became, I think, a continuing takeaway from Mackinac Island.
We all wanted to make sure we had strong economic development programs, that we worked together, that we got help from the federal government, that tax policy didn't punish us. We also knew that we had a beautiful region. We didn't want it to be called the Rust Belt. That was ridiculous. We wanted to be called the Great Lakes region. And so we were adamant about that. But we didn't have much trouble agreeing on things, working out the details on the Great Lakes Charter. We had a legislative agenda for Congress, for our states, but also we developed a whole program to protect the Great Lakes.
When you talked about the Great Lakes, you talked about the importance of water, access to plentiful water supplies, what that would mean for investments looking long into the future, and also to what it was as an environmental resource for travel and tourism and things of that kind. So I think that was overwhelmingly our number one issue.
What's interesting was this was a transformational time for concern for the Great Lakes. We felt, even though our economies were in bad shape and we needed to improve them, we did not want to sacrifice environment. So we got together and said, we need to protect our Great Lakes from diverting water to the south and southwest. So we developed a Great Lakes Charter, which strengthened the legal case against diversion of Great Lakes water. We also worried about toxics in the lakes. So we developed a Great Lakes Toxics Agreement to agree to go forward and focus on 13 hot spots to clean up toxics. Finally, because we were working so well together, we developed the Great Lakes Protection Fund, which was one of the first of a kind regional funds where we actually pooled our money to a research fund to try to develop the best technology and techniques for cleaning up and saving and protecting the lakes.
All of us, particularly the 4 first-term governors who were Democrats, Tony Earl from Wisconsin, Rudy Perpich from Minnesota, Jim Blanchard in Michigan, and myself in Ohio, we had a lot in common in terms of what we were dealing with in terms of our own states. And we had much in common with Illinois and Indiana as well. And, partisan differences were not as sharp at that point in time. We can't do heavy lifting in public policy unless we work at it together. At some point or another, we have to look for compromise that gets us what's best for all of our citizens. And I think the Council on Great Lakes Governors does that. I am enormously proud of the work of the Great Lakes Governors Council. And in the addition of premiers is very important because if we can look into the future 10 and 20 years and beyond, high quality, assured water supply may be the biggest single determinant of economic activity for the future.
We're just thrilled the work has continued, and the work has continued with the Great Lakes governors and also our friends in Ontario and Quebec.
I appreciated the experience I had working with my colleagues. It made me a better governor. I think it was good for Ohio. It was good for our neighbor states. I think it's good for the region and for the Great Lakes themselves. It's helped to preserve a unique global asset that we share with our Canadian sister provinces.
And we're happy the current governors are working very hard to keep the momentum going.
Enjoy Cleveland while you're there. Stop by the Rock Hall and enjoy yourself there too.